Now, the Bram Weinstein Show on Washington's new home for sports, ESPN 630.
Hey, babies. Hey, babies. Hi, everyone. I am pumped up. I'm getting on a plane.
You can feel the excitement over there.
Oh, yeah. I'm pumped up. I'm getting on a plane after the next few hours here. I'm going to go to Las Vegas, get to my happy place, and then we're going to have the show live from Radio Row tomorrow, Thursday, Friday. Got a litany of guests that are already lined up, and then we'll see how it goes from there. The leader in the clubhouse for me, and I know all of you don't care about this, but I do, the legendary Carrot Top is expected to come on at some point on Thursday, I think. And if that happens, that will be picture of a lifetime. Take a picture of me and Carrot Top.
Let me put something in your ear just so you remember this. You need to ask him. You were brought in by the Cowboys 2 or 3 years ago. Do you normally go in to
like entertain them?
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, we talked about it. Because remember McCarthy.
Oh, he did the Gallagher bit with the watermelon when they flew to Minnesota.
It was Gallagher.
It was
a Gallagher bit. That's right.
He's not going to appreciate probably. I wonder, do you appreciate being compared to Gallagher? Because it is the same realm.
Yeah.
It's the same realm.
But was it?
We also have football guests coming on, too. Just so you know.
I guess
Jonathan Ogden's coming on. Rod Woodson's coming on. KJ Wright's coming on. We got a lot of football guests.
My brain's a little fried now, so maybe I don't know. Either way. You should just ask if any sports teams hire him to come in, because I'm sure that is a thing.
I'm going to have to wrangle London to come on, too. He'll be out there with me. London will be out there, but then I saw Santana and Fred yesterday. I asked them, are you going to Vegas? And they both said no. And I looked at Fred and I went...
Does Fred look like a sad puppy dog?
Well, I looked at Fred and I'm like, you're not going to Las Vegas for the Super Bowl? And he was like, no. And I'm like, that wasn't on my board.
That's
an off the board
upset in the clubhouse.
Upset. Because the whole time I'm like, well, you got to come by. It was priming for I want you to come on my show. And he's like, I'm not going. And I looked at him and I'm like, this is the one I thought you would go to.
I'm not going this time, Bram.
Yeah.
It's too expensive for me this time.
So I was a little surprised by it. That was a shocker when he told me yesterday he wasn't going.
Okay.
So London will be out there and I'll go. I'll try to grab London, get him to come on at some point too. All right. Let's get into reaction to Dan Quinn, head coach. So I've now started to survey the fan part of it. Like the press conference started at 2:30, ended at 3:30. I immediately went on the air. So when we were talking about it, I hadn't really gauged any kind of reaction to it. Right. I think we all know what it was a week ago, which was a lot of the P1s. He didn't fit the profile. They were swiping left on this one. Yes, they wanted young, fresh, offensive-minded.
Yep.
He's not those things.
Right.
Fine. After this press conference, though, I kind of walked out going, and this happens a lot with these guys because they're head coaches for a reason. They know how to motivate you. They can hit the right buttons to say the right things, and it is all new. So it always, like, I take that with a grain of salt, and I'm going to walk out of there going, okay, let's go. I'm like excited. If he didn't do that, it'd be like, oh boy, but he did, just like any other head coach typically does, with the exception of Zorn. He did. So all that, the juices are flowing, but I'm like, let me see how this landed. And largely, I think it landed pretty well because I actually think he shared a lot. I think what was interesting about it. It wasn't all cliches.
Yep.
He did share a lot. He acknowledged, I kind of screwed up towards the end of my tenure. A lot of it is my fault. I decided I wanted to look inside a little bit, get some help. And if and when someone was going to be willing to let me do this again, that I was going to do it differently. And that was the part that really hit for me yesterday because most people, one, don't admit that.
Of course.
Two,
we've all been there too, though. I mean, that was the most relatable thing he said.
Most head coaches, including the last one, they got all the answers. And that's a typical trait of most of the head coaches. Like, you're not going to argue with them. Yep. They're going to, and if they're wrong about something, they will spin it, so that they can make themselves seem right. So I'm not trying to dump on Rivera, but like all of them are typically that way.
Yeah.
That wasn't him yesterday either.
Right.
It wasn't. Mm-hmm. I loved on the Kingsbury thing when he said, like, why'd you hire him? He said, because he was tough to coach against.
Yes, right.
That one hit the marks for me. He's not just bringing in whoever his guy is that he's had forever. They are doing it on the defensive side of the ball, but it's a coach who's worked with him in 3 different stops.
Right.
Three different stops this guy's been with him. So, like, when I heard, like, he's not doing the play calling, immediately I was like, I don't like that because his defenses work. But then he's like, but I'm bringing the guy who's been with me on 3 separate stops. He hit a lot of the high notes for me. So I think that I think it hit pretty well. I think there are probably some people that are still going, he still doesn't fit what I was looking for. Well, you're married to him now.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
So it's time to go off to the honeymoon, and let's try to have one here.
Yep.
Because I actually thought yesterday that was a pretty good toast that we had at the, if you were a little concerned about whether this is going to work out, that was a pretty good toast he had yesterday.
I hinted at it, and I think we talked about it yesterday, but even as a day later, and I even replayed some of it this morning filling in for Tony, it couldn't have been more opposite of Rivera. It went even more opposite the more I started to listen to the press conference back again, where it was just like, it was such a breath of fresh air.
He felt approachable.
Yes. Yeah.
Rivera's not approachable.
Correct.
He doesn't give up. Like, the weirdest part is he is in real life.
Yeah.
But like in those settings, he comes off as very standoffish and closed and vague, and we're not going to tell you what we're doing here.
Yeah.
And we've got all the answers. Just trust us.
Right.
And not this guy. This guy was like, I'm going to throw my hat on backwards, throw on a couple sneakers. Why don't we go play some pickleball?
Yeah,
and then
right.
I'll tell you what's going on and literally tell you what's going on. It felt very relatable. Like we haven't had relatable
Correct.
in a while.
That's right. Yes, exactly. And as I said, too, I think the biggest opposite, flip between the two is that, like, Ron loved to tell you how much he knew about everything.
Correct.
Dan,
and again, that's a lot of the coaches. Like that.
No,
That's
I know.
a trait of
Totally.
most of the coaches.
Totally. I'm not saying he's the only one,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Dan, I didn't feel that at all. He would always say, "Good question," and explain everything out. And like, there's a weird line of explaining something but not making you look like an idiot too, though. And like,
Right.
I felt Ron did a little too much of that with this fan base, where it was like, dude, this isn't Carolina, not to disparage the Carolina fans.
I know.
We know our stuff here. You don't need to act like it's all a secret or you don't know what's going on, or if you explain it, we're not going to understand what it is.
We've been doing this for 90 years.
Yes, right.
We are very educated about this team. Like it's one of the reasons, I not only like there's a lot of reasons why I love football and I love football here, but that is part of it. Like we have been around, we've done this a long time. We know what good looks like. We really know what bad looks like over the last 20 years, but we know when it sounds right and it feels right. And I think that was the part of the Quinn thing yesterday, which I think Rivera never got with us. Like he couldn't communicate properly. And I was often just like hinting to people around him. I'm like, just tell them to be upfront with everybody.
Yeah.
Like this isn't New York where they'll come at you with knives out. Actually, we're not only like we are very educated, they're very insightful, but we're not out to knife people here.
That's right. Yep.
We're
Exactly.
not actually.
Yep.
He got the sense that we were, but I don't think we are. Like with a couple exceptions, like Livero's coming at you. Like he'll come get you. And Barry can be sharp, but I think oftentimes measured sharp.
Yep,
like
sure.
the way he does it is not a full takedown.
Yes.
If he feels necessary to do a takedown. But most of the, accomplished columnist writers here, they don't come at you hard. Go ask the Wizards about that. Like where we keep bringing up the one time someone finally went at them was Candace doing the Wizards piece, and I went, thank God somebody's done this because this has been deserved for so long, and finally somebody did it. Like I actually think that our writers here are actually quite measured about the whole thing. And so I was always with Rivera, like, just be more upfront with everybody. Like, you'll see. Like, they're not dumb. Like, these people who cover this team have done this for a long time. Like, they're not, we know what we're talking about. No one here pretends we know more than you. But when you are actively trying to be vague or deceive us, then we know that too. And that is not a good thing to do with us. And I think, like, I don't know what the relationship was with the Carolina, people, and I don't want to insinuate they didn't know what they were talking or anything like that, but it clearly was a much more whatever he says goes.
Yes.
Feeling,
whereas
and
here,
this is where he was not accustomed to when you say things and then we just repeat them to you and you don't like that it got repeated to you.
that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Ron, I always felt like we all had to keep a notebook out and say, all right, Buffalo Nickel, October 14th,
the
2022.
problem here is
and it was
quarterback.
Like, like it was just like,
we
gotta write
you just got one.
Right, we're like, we just got to write another one in the book here so we can go back to it. It was a
right.
lot of that. A lot of that.
There was a lot of that. Anyway, he felt more relatable and kind of open and genuinely excited to do it.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, and he kept pointing out, if I got this shot again, I would be ready to do it and do it differently. And I'm a much wiser person now. I loved it. I mean, I loved all of that because I think we all want everything about this to be as relatable as possible. We are all human beings here. We're all in it for the same reasons. We all want to win. And so that felt good too yesterday.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, I do think, like, does he fit the profile of what people were looking for? He probably doesn't. I mean this in the nicest way possible. He doesn't look the part. I think they were looking for someone a little younger, not with the hat on backwards, you know. And, you know, to me, like, I always think that those things are really overrated when you go that direction. But I think that's some of it here too. Like, he just didn't look, feel, age, the look, you know, the kind of the way he communicates. I think people were just ready for something that looked like Ben Johnson.
Yep.
Younger, you know, kind of more, I guess, stoic, I guess is what you were looking. I don't know what they were looking for with that part of it. But, like, I don't know. For me, he said all the right things in every way. And it was like, wow, okay. Like if you can't at least give this a chance now, I think, how could you not off of that yesterday? At least go, all right, you know, like, did you hear what he said and how he said it, the passion he said it with, and what's important to him? That's what's important to me. It was nice to hear it out loud. It really was.
For sure. I would say the one that I'll add on too is we talked about it a little bit yesterday, but two, everyone's saying, oh, it's Rivera 2.0. That quote on Matt Ryan basically saying it felt like I got traded because the energy was different.
Yeah.
I don't know what more you could want coming to this franchise at this moment right now. Like, they ain't moving out of Ashburn anytime soon. They need everyone pulling on the same rope. You need someone to come in and flip the switch somehow. And that's what he did in Atlanta. And he's already said out loud and demonstrated he's learned from those experiences. I think it's a great fit. Like, I'm starting to see now why he was an actual candidate, not just them saying that. He actually said why that I know why Harris and Peters were interested in him is because they're going, this is the perfect guy for us right now at this moment in time.
Well, and also, like, you know, most people want some sort of control of the personnel. He learned the hard way. He doesn't.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
He found out, you know what? Maybe I'll just stay in my lane here. I was told these are the things I'm supposed to acquire in terms of power. As it turned out, I'm better served just spending my time in the meeting rooms with everybody and tell the GM, hey, we need this or this or this, or these are the skill sets we're looking for, and let them do their jobs.
Right.
And hopefully that'll happen moving forward. And I assume it will, because I got the sense that he just wants to be a football coach. And that's the good news, too. The other people that I'm excited for are Jamin Davis is heading into what is a contract year.
Yep.
I have a hard time buying they're going to pick up a fifth-year option on him off of the first 3 years. But to your point about Matt Ryan, I'm hoping he feels like he was traded to a new team because he is very talented, and maybe they can find a way to unleash that talent differently so he doesn't get exposed as much and makes more plays.
Yeah.
And the other guy really stands out to me with Tony Witt coming in off of the success that they've had with secondaries through the years is Emmanuel Forbes. Clearly he's going to be back here. He's a first-round pick, and we can talk about all the things that, you know, are limitations, undersized and all that stuff, but he was brought here to be a turnover machine because he jumps routes. He's very anticipatory. Well, guess what's happened in Dallas the last couple of years? Trayvon Diggs, who's, you know, probably a higher caliber, at least height, weight, all that stuff, but similarly fast, ball hawking, great hands, had the most interceptions in a single season in Cowboys history. And then a year later, a fifth-round pick had the most pick sixes in a single season in NFL history. That can't be a coincidence.
Yep.
So if I'm Emmanuel Forbes today, he ought to feel like he got traded.
Sure.
And we're going to find out who he is. Because if he can't succeed with these guys, he ain't succeeding with anybody, because these are the guys that are killing it.
This is also an indictment of the problem with the last regime, too, in terms of the actual word coaching. When a guy wasn't working, they either benched him or moved him around. And this time around, it seems like it's going to be an actual feedback. This is what you need to do better to be able to succeed. Because remember, it was, Jamin Davis, we drafted him to be the middle linebacker. And that lasted for 5 seconds before they popped him out to the outside. Forbes, same thing. Oh, yeah, he's going to be a ball hawking corner. Well, yeah, then you put him on A.J. Brown one-on-one. What did you expect him to do in that scenario? Like, there's no coaching that one up or giving him any tips. I feel like this is what's going to happen as well. We're actually going to know whether some of these guys can actually adapt and play, because I feel like actual coaching is about to happen. Instead of we put you in that position, it didn't work. Let's move you out or let's bench you. I feel like that's not going to be an answer this time around. I think they're actually going to say, no, you need to do X, Y, and Z better, because we're actually going to coach you up here.
Yeah, they have two interesting decisions back there, too. Kendall Fuller can still play, but they got to re-sign him.
That's right.
Cam Curl's got to get a contract as well. Be very interesting to see what happens with both of them. And the other one, too, is Quan Martin, who really came on, and all of a sudden can play a bunch of different positions. It'll be interesting to see how they utilize him, too. The cupboard's not bare on that side of the ball. They are going to have to go get a rush end now.
Right.
Because of the choices that they made at the deadline. They don't have an adequate starter at that position. I think they could make some decisions about James Smith-Williams or Hill or guys like that to be backups and be rotational pieces, but they're not starters for them.
Right.
So they're going to now have to spend some money. That's a money position. So they're going to have to do some stuff about that.
Yep.
And then I saw some other stuff. Someone, PFF or something, put out like here's a breakout of 4 players from each team in the NFC East, and one of them they put was KJ Henry. So maybe, you know, like actually he really felt a little ahead of the curve too late in the season. You know, is he a starter? I don't know, but you know, we'll see. All right, let's get some more of the reaction. So out at the Super Bowl, some primary people, you know, have had experience with Dan Quinn or Adam Peters, or in some cases both. Kyle Shanahan is one of them. He coached under Quinn in the year they went to the Super Bowl and lost. And of course, Adam Peters just came out of the 49ers organization. So he was asked yesterday about the combination, and here's what he said about it.
I'm so pumped for Dan. I'm so pumped for Washington. Dan's a hell of a coach. They got a hell of a one. I know they've gone through a lot of stuff in these last 20 years, but having AP and DQ is as good as it gets. Like, Dan taught me so much in Atlanta. I'm very grateful for how much he's helped my career, and him and Stacy, and just what he's going to do for their organization. Knowing Adam, knowing Jen, like, they're set up very well. What's that? I just loved watching how he ran the team. Certain things he did on the meetings and stuff. You take things from everybody, but Dan, the way he carried himself, the way he talked to the team, was as good as I've been around.
Okay, so that's Kyle Shanahan. This falls into the category of what I've been talking about for the last week when the hiring occurred, or less than that, but around there, where was this chasm of the people, how it landed here with some of the fans, which I'm hoping is softened now after you heard him speak, and also let it sink in. He's the head coach. So let's all come on, get on board a little bit here. Let's not go crazy here. And the other side of it, which was, and people seem to think I was like, y'all don't know me if you think I'm making stuff up. Like, I don't. Everybody around the league that I spoke to kept saying the same things that he just said publicly about him over and over and over. Like, did he fit the profile of who I thought they were going to hire? No, he didn't. But it doesn't mean he's not the right guy at the right time or the right guy for them. And his reputation speaks for itself. And when I defended the hiring, because a lot of people didn't like it, everyone was just like mouthpiece of the team. And I'm sitting there going, man, like, you all know I call it straight. Like, now, if I thought it was a bad hiring, I wasn't going to come out and blast it. Like, I'm not stupid.
That's right.
But I kept saying, like, I've never seen more people inside the league that respects a person, where outside the league, the fans had this reaction. The chasm was deep. Like, this wasn't Adam Gase. Like, it wasn't like where everybody's going, big mistake, or even like Zorn for that. Like, Zorn's the best, is the
Fossil.
best. Fossil, that react, like, he didn't have a good reputation around the league. And if they did hire him and the fans were already upset about it, that's where you could understand it. Like, the same thing happened with Zorn. It wasn't that people disliked Zorn, but they were like, no way. The people around the league were saying, like, no way you're going to make him the head coach. And the fans were like, oh, crap. That made sense. This one, it was a sect of the fan base that just didn't get what they wanted or expected. And then the people in the league who go home run. I've never seen something like that before, where there wasn't more, a measured approach from the reaction to it. But that's where we are. All right. So then the other stuff started happening, which was they got Kliff Kingsbury, which we mentioned earlier, which I love that Quinn said the reason why I hired him is because he was tough to coach against, which I really liked, all of that stuff. All right. You want to play Ian Rappaport first? Okay. Kliff Kingsbury, as of last Friday, was going to be the offensive coordinator of the Raiders. That fell apart. And Rappaport now reports why that fell apart.
Number one question is, who's going to be your offensive coordinator? This is as big as it gets for the Washington Commanders. And, to look at the flip that happened when he was with the Raiders, my understanding is Magic Johnson, who is a limited partner with the Commanders, was actually the one to step in and kind of pull Kliff Kingsbury back and go, you know what? If this deal with the Raiders isn't perfect, maybe there's a home for you in Washington.
Magic tweeted about it yet?
He has not. I look forward to his dramatic tweet about that. I will turn on his noties, as they say. Meanwhile, the Dallas.
How about that? Basketball guys.
That's
getting
pretty
deals
good. Pretty good for a basketball guy.
Pretty good for a basketball guy. Ben? Pretty good, huh? How about that? Magic Johnson stepping in. I was wondering, to what degree would he be active in all of this stuff?
Yeah, right.
Because I knew he would be on the business side, especially dealing with Prince George's County, Maryland, because he has business interests there, and the stadium's a big deal. I knew that would be part of it. Him being a very welcome, person that people see associated with it, great, all of that. But would he literally get involved in things like this? Well, how about that one?
Right.
So that was a turn of events, that it was Magic Johnson who got Kliff Kingsbury to change his mind about the Raiders and come over to Washington.
So we've had one development this week where now there's a little bit of bad blood between the Lions and this team.
Yeah.
Whenever they face off next, they're going to talk about that, right? We have a whole offseason of drama between us and the Bears, depending what happens with the pick, with who is picked or who isn't picked, whatever you want to say, right? Now we have a situation where the Vegas Raiders had an offensive coordinator ready to go, and the Commanders were the one to get a star.
Jumped in, grabbed him.
And grabbed him to come to Washington.
Got a massive superstar to call him up and tell him to do this.
I believe Rappaport there when he says the quote there, if the deal isn't perfect, come talk to us. And so
I've heard they offered a couple years in Washington, upped it by a year. That's what I heard.
Okay, so there you go. But what I'm getting at here is all of a sudden this ownership group is not messing around.
No.
They've had no problem, by the way, smearing Ben Johnson real fast here in the last couple of days, too.
I hate saying it this way. He deserved it.
Of course. No. I'm not
that's what I said. The second it happened, I go, it's Mr. Wonderful. You're dead to me.
Right.
And you don't think they're gonna allow you to get away with doing something like that without, you think they're gonna be really gentle about it? You don't do that. You saw what Schefter did yesterday, where he was like, you got to be kidding me. Because when I read it too, you don't want the job? All right. There's a way to go about that.
Yes,
you don't do what you did. And good luck with the other owners, because they're not going to forget about this. They're going to call up Josh Harris. They're going to ask him what their experience was, and it's not going to be a pleasant phone call.
That's right. Exactly right. So, I'm just saying here, we're in the offseason, and there's 3 teams that are already like, what the hell is Washington that have to do with us? That's 3 of them now, though, that they have kind of meddled a little bit. Yeah. And I like it. I'm saying I like this because it means the team doesn't give a you-know-what about what their moves 100%. Are. They just need to make the best move for the franchise moving forward. I'm all about
100%. All right. So then Pat Mahomes at the Super Bowl, of course, played for Kliff Kingsbury, Texas Tech. So this goes a ways back.
Yep.
But so he was asked yesterday, or I think maybe it might have been today, at the Super Bowl.
Yesterday. It was yesterday. It was opening night, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he was asked about Kingsbury, and this is what he said.
Great person, man. Someone that truly loves the game of football, works his tail off every single day, and gets the best out of his guys, especially his quarterbacks. And so I'm excited for him to have another opportunity in the NFL. I thought he did a great job in Arizona, especially with the offense, and so I think he'll do a great job in Washington, getting that offense going.
Was there a story growing through him that you can relate to us, that you can kind of tell about?
Yeah, I think he always believed in me from the beginning, even when I wasn't getting a lot of offers coming out of high school. And then when I got there, he evolved the offense to really fit my game. And I think that's what you have to do as a great offensive coordinator in this league, is you have to evolve the offense to fit the guys that you have, and I think he's done that everywhere he's been.
Okay, so there's an endorsement for Pat Mahomes. Kevin Durant tweeted, "Congratulations, Kliff. Who's next?" I love him.
There's one thing KD is consistent with, is that he is a diehard fan of this franchise. So.
Who's next? We know what he's talking about there. And now it's all, listen, the second they got Kliff Kingsbury, I went, oh, man, the Caleb Williams thing's really in play. There's no chance on earth they hire him if Caleb Williams wouldn't consider working with him on the NFL level.
Yep.
It doesn't mean they're going to get him, but if you think that they would hire somebody that he hates, you're crazy.
Right.
Okay? Pat Mahomes likes him, right? Others have said high-level quarterbacks, they like him. Right. They like working with him. He works with unique skill set quarterbacks like Mahomes, Kyler Murray, now Caleb Williams. It's too on the nose. And so now we are waiting for and this is what might have to happen. Does he go full Eli Elway and dictate where he goes?
Right.
Because otherwise, the reality is this. The Bears, whether they want to select him or not, and I assume they do, but if they do, then they probably just take him and suck it up. If they're open to sticking with Fields and trading out of the pick, well, the offers are going to be heavy. And then at that point, he's going to have to step in, because if he wants to try to figure out where he wants to go, he's got to dictate that, because Minnesota's going to make an offer. Yep. The Raiders are going to make an offer. The Patriots might make an offer. We're probably going to make an offer. There's going to be a lot. There's probably a couple other teams that are looking at this and thinking about it. And there's going to be a lot of offers on the table. Some of them are going to be robust. And then he has to step in and say, well, actually, guys, this is where I want to be.
Yep.
And I'm hoping that hiring of Kingsbury signals that he is more than open to that happening.
Right.
Now, this all could be very simplified by, I never said I don't want to go to the Bears, and if they pick me number one, I'm going to go there happily and play for them. And if that happens, all's well that ends well.
Right.
Hello, Jaden Daniels.
That's right. Yep,
Probably.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, that's what I would think too.
If it doesn't, though, and it is all kind of out there, but it's going to be, the ball is going to be in his court soon, not right now, but soon to go, what do you want to do? Because he is going to be the number one pick, and he is going to have to step in and say, I want to do this or that. And I have a feeling that he's not going to quietly just say, I'm willing to do whatever happens to me.
Yeah.
That's the sense I get. It doesn't mean he doesn't like Chicago. It doesn't mean he doesn't want to go to the Bears. But there's too much smoke of he's thinking about his future and what he wants his future to look like. And he may end up saying that's in Chicago. And he may not. And I think we're heading to a path of he's going to have to get on the record and say it. The last time we had this was Burrow, where his dad spilled the beans that he wasn't sure if he wanted to go to Cincinnati. Then they clearly either changed their mind or just decided they were satisfied with it. And it's worked out very well for them. They've been really, really good with him. Got to a Super Bowl, and they had a winning record even without him this year for most of the year. He's been really, really good there. So, but I think it's the first time since then, because I don't remember this last year with Bryce Young. I don't remember him ever saying he would or would not go somewhere. I don't remember this with C.J. Stroud, where it was even immediately out there. I also think that this particular player is different. And that's why I'm very, very, very excited about the prospect of getting him. It doesn't mean that, that like he's going to be great, but what I see is he's a different caliber player. And I'm hoping he publicly states he wants to come here.
Right. Yes. I mean,
because I think that's
would help things along.
I think that's what it's going to take.
Right.
And then they're going to have to decide, what do the Bears hold us up for? And I don't know what that number is going to be. And what I hope for all, like you like the vinegar, I want them to trade with us and pick a quarterback anyway.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So that it gets in perpetuity the comparison of, they got all these things and they didn't even want to take them anyway.
That's right. Yeah.
That would be amazing.
I agree.
All right, we'll take a quick break. Very much the show. ESPN 630 Sports Capital. Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. All right.
A lot of hi everyone's today.
Hi, everyone. Let's see. Two favorite stories of the day from the NFL. One, Diana Rossini insinuates in a story today that one of the reasons Mike Vrabel may not have gotten a second job immediately is that he's a very large human being. And because he's a very large human being, that can be intimidating to the people he works with. To which I would just say this. A lot of the head coaches are former players and are large human beings. Ron Rivera is a big dude.
Right.
Like he towered over me. He's a big dude. Like, that's a lot of guys. That's not abnormal that you have ex-players who are coaches. They're large. D'Amico Ryans is probably a big dude.
There's a reason why Vrabel was a red zone target for Tom Brady. What do you catch, like 10, 15 touchdowns from him over his career?
Now, apparently she had to walk it back a little bit.
Yeah.
But she more than insinuated that that's one of the problems he had. When he walks in the building, people are scared of him. It's like they saw Sasquatch walk in the building all of a sudden.
I feel like I'm trying to think of like an owner. I feel like some owner is going to love that. Like Jera, I think, would love that in Dallas. Like, have you seen my head coach?
He's a monster.
I feel like that's what I think some owners would like that.
Yeah. Why don't you hire Yao Ming while you're at it?
You met with him multiple times. Is Antonio Pierce a big dude? Is he shorter?
No, he's shorter.
He's shorter, but he's still pretty jacked.
I haven't seen him a long time, but like he's more like he's probably like my height,
like
an inch
stocky,
taller. He's
though.
not. Vrabel must be like 6'4". That's
Okay.
must be what it is.
All
He's just a big giant dude.
So
frankly, Peyton and Tom Brady are big guys.
Right.
Not like jacked up guys,
They're massive human beings, though. Yeah.
I don't think people know this. Tom Brady's like 6'4", 6'5". Like he's a big dude. He's like when he walks by, you're like, oh my god, you don't realize, you don't think of him that way.
Yeah.
He is. I don't know. When I read that, I'm like, really?
That's a weird one.
It is a weird one.
Okay, like I said, too, I feel like the right owner would like that, too. Like Tepper, I feel like Tepper would love that.
Unleash him.
Yeah, right. You want to strap up the pads?
Yeah. You want to play?
Although that is a thing. Did you hear about that in Tennessee? He would actually, like, go through drills.
Oh, I bet.
And, like, the, like,
That's what Campbell does?
Yeah. The, like.
Campbell's a big dude. Campbell's an enormous guy.
The interns holding the old pads there would get bowled over regularly by him.
I mean, Dan Campbell's a huge guy.
Yeah, right.
He's probably 6'4", something like. He's a big dude. I don't know. I was surprised when I read it too. I was like, really?
That's
okay.
Yeah, that's a weird one. That's a weird one.
All right. Here's Alex Anzalone, linebacker for the Lions, Players Tribune on the NFC Championship. Okay. You're gonna love this. I think it's stupid, but you're gonna love this.
Oh, here we go. I'm gonna be right. This is what this is gonna be.
We were all behind Dan on the 4th down call.
Yes.
Let's get that out of the way first. If you could rewind time, we would do it all again.
Yes.
100 times out of 100. The offense, the defense, everybody. If you've been following this team's journey for the last 3 years, then you know how we play football. You know the mentality that got us here.
Told you.
Goes on.
All right, let's go.
It was the right decision. And I'm not talking about the right decision for analytics or talk radio or whatever. It's the right call for us, especially in that moment. When you're in that situation, 20 games into an NFL season, it's not like a video game. You're not playing Madden. You had guys out there with bum ankles, guys playing with MCL sprains, guys taking nerve injections and Toradol, guys who could barely get out of bed that morning. It's a battle of wills at that point in the season. You're just running on pure belief and adrenaline. I feel like if you shy away from your identity in that moment, then you're betraying the very thing that got you there. On 4th down in that situation, we're always going for the kill. That mentality took us from 0-10-1 to the NFC Championship game in just a few seasons. Honestly, if anything, when we decided to kick the field goal in the first half, I was more surprised then. When the chips are down, Detroit is always going to bet on Detroit. To a man, I think we would do it all again. With that said, does it hurt? Hell yeah, it hurts.
See, this is...
Why? Oh, go ahead. This is what... Go ahead. I think you are buying into this, and my friends who are from the area are totally into this too. And it's delusional.
He says it right there, though. He says it right there, though, that he was surprised about the field goal in the first half.
Campbell walked down the sideline and looked how close it was and looked like he needed to be told in his head, you have to kick a field goal here.
Right.
Which, of course, was the right thing to do. But instead of 21-7, it's 24-7 at halftime on the road. Of course you take the field goal there.
But then the second time there where he says everyone wanted to do it, if Dan doesn't go for it, it damages the locker room and the team, maybe forever.
What if they're, I don't know, doing interviews today at the Super Bowl?
They're not, though. They're not.
That's their fault. That's what I'm telling you. That's their fault.
What if they kicked and lost?
So you're psyched the way you lost?
And what if they kicked and lost? And then they're going to wonder the whole time, why didn't we go for it on 4th down like we did all season long?
You know what, then? Because everybody's hurt, cut the kicker. You're not going to use them. Get another position player.
That'd be fun. Dan Campbell would do that. But
what do you need a punter or a kicker for, do you? What do you need them for, then? That's 2 extra players you could have on your team.
He becomes that high
school
coach.
You get rid of the snapper. That's 3. You got 3 extra players.
He becomes that high school coach in Texas that never kicks ever.
Ever. I don't ever kick.
I forget who that guy is, but he's won like 15 national or 15 state titles doing that.
Where he kicks onside kicks after every touchdown,
it's been going on since the early 2000s. Yes.
He's like, y'all are dumb. I know math.
Boat race dudes.
I think you are not getting out of your identity by winning. And there are certain times where, again, I can't believe I have to go over this again. For Alex, all people from Detroit who just don't understand math and time management here, okay? I get what you're saying. I agree with you. I think it's cool. I know you guys have lost forever, and you want to win your way. And I totally get that, and I can totally get on board with it. And I think that whole region got on board with it. They were overtaking stadiums. Yes. Lions fans were overtaking.
They overtook the 49ers stadium.
So I am for this. But then comes the reality of the difference between the Super Bowl and not making the Super Bowl is just some simple time management that you refuse to acknowledge. It was like 7 to 8 minutes left in the game. You can only reasonably expect to get the ball 1 to 2 more times. If you don't kick a field goal there and they score, you can't win. So I don't get why just general logic, reasoning, and arithmetic could just for a moment, put aside the hubris of doing that and what it would mean to fail. And if you feel like we don't care, we failed doing it our way, then please keep doing this because you're never going to get there. The reality is this sport is too close at that level. The teams are too good. You need a lot of luck, breaks, to his point, injury luck, to stay alive and do these things. These opportunities are hard to replicate. I marvel at people like Belichick and Brady and Andy Reid and Shanahan and McVay who keep getting there over and over because the seasons are long and hard. This team has never done anything like this in its history. In the Super Bowl era, haven't done anything like this. And when they got there and had the opportunity, they just put their hubris in front of arithmetic. And at that point, someone needs to say, we're not being you-know-whats by kicking a field goal here. We're giving ourselves a chance to win. Isn't that what you want? Isn't that in the end? Don't you want to be in Las Vegas this week? Don't you?
How do you also know, though, that he wasn't using the vibe of the team, kind of like Ron did against the Eagles, going, we might not get on the other side of the field for the rest of the game with how we've been playing and the way the momentum is going. We need to go for a kill shot right now.
I said on the air that day they should go for 2.
Right.
He had said they would do that in the past. On the road, if it's at the end of the game.
Go for 2 on the road against divisional opponent. Oh, wait.
On the road.
3 years later.
Changed our mind. Changed our mind.
Right.
That's really where the season probably went.
What did the Commanders do then, too? They lost them both.
So
I'm just saying. Maybe off the vibe, too.
The worst part of that about that one was the reason why we didn't go for it is the guys were gassed. It's one play. But you had to get the ball in overtime.
That's right.
So if they were so tired, why did you want to run a drive from your 25-yard line?
Let's
win.
Let's not get angry about things that happened.
That's illogical.
18 weeks ago.
I just can't. I hear him. I think, the interesting part is every person I've talked to who supports that team was kind of like, we're happy we went down this way. If we were going to go down, we're going to go down our way. But your way is nonsensical in that moment. It isn't for the rest of the year, but it was then. Like just in the same way when they lost that Dallas game, they lost because they did a crazy thing.
Right.
They did. They did a crazy thing.
Sure.
And I said at that moment, I go, their undoing is going to be them making decisions where they can't control themselves because they've just decided to hit on 18 every time. You are not going to get a 3 most of the time. You're not. 9 times out of 10, you're not. I love it because they've just bought into almost like a screw it.
Right.
Nobody believes in us. Everybody makes fun of us. We're going to show you, and we're going to do it our way. I like that. I'm all for it, and they're into it. But at the end of the day, they could be playing this week, and they're not.
Right.
Because they hit on 20 and thought they were going to get an ace.
You also, though, it's also a cut your losses scenario in this point, too. I keep saying it. The bigger plays that no one wants to talk about are the 2 drops on 4th down, the drop on 3rd down. I'm just saying, they make those plays.
The 2 Josh Reynolds drops, that 3rd down drop was a killer.
Yes.
The punt,
the punt
that wasn't recovered at the 1 because the guy was standing in the end zone was a terrible mistake.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. I think Campbell was having the feel of the game going, we need to try to take the kill shot right now because the way the momentum is going, the way the mistakes are stacking up here, we need to kind of go for it. And it didn't pay off.
You know, if you go hunting and there is the duck that's just kind of circling, you're allowed to shoot that one. You don't have to try to get the hard one every time to prove everybody something.
Right.
All right, I'll be right back. Bram, what's your show? ESPN 630 Sports Capital. This song is called Dance You Out of My Head, which is by a local artist by the name of Kat Janis. Sounds very Dua Lipa. Kind of that kind of similar vein,
dream
right?
Pop-ish,
Dream pop, disco-y a little bit. That kind of affected vocal that sounds like she's almost angelic. Mm-hmm. Yeah, very good. I just learned about this the other day and off of the Grammys. This sounds like it falls into the category of something that might have been nominated and probably should have been because as of January 21st, It ranked number 7 on iTunes, its worldwide chart. It was ahead of Miley Cyrus's Flowers, which just actually won Record of the Year, the Grammys, and was behind only some of the biggest names in music: Ariana Grande, Dua Lipa, Jack Harlow, others. It ranks number 1 in a number of different European countries, including Romania and the Czech Republic. And the most amazing part about this whole thing is that Kat Janis released this song and is in hospice currently. Knew that about her health when she put this out. She has a ultra rare sarcoma that started to afflict her a couple years ago. She has been sent to hospice care now because the end, unfortunately, is probably near for her. She has a 7-year-old son, and she basically just put out this song and said, I want all proceeds to go towards him, and she has a hit. It's a truly inspiring, amazing story of a local artist, and I think it's unbelievable.
I've followed her now for about 3 months, and when she started to get the momentum behind this one song, because it was literally written in her will, every proceed, whatever streaming, everything goes to her son from this one song. I said, this is going to be a hit. I don't know what it's going to sound like, but I just know, especially in our area, where this is a hotbed. Like, you and I talk about this all the time. DC is such an underrated music town when it comes to everything. I knew the community was going to swell up and make this a hit, and it has. I didn't think it was going to go like this worldwide, but just an awesome, awesome story.
It is. She wrote this on Instagram about it. I am in complete shock. I woke up because my med pump was beeping, and I happened to check my phone to witness an absolute miracle of God, saving my life for a few days to show me his power and incredible mastery of peace and trust in my life. I'm beyond blessed to share this news with you all, and I cannot thank you for your more love. And it's because it was zooming up the charts that she saw that her song is a top 10 worldwide hit.
It's awesome.
It is amazing. So it's called, what is that?
Dance You Out of My Head.
Dance You Out of My Head by Kat Janis. She's a local. I think it's a beautiful song. It's great.
No, it's fantastic.
Really
add it to all of your streaming and stream it.
You want to talk about the Grammys just for a minute before I get to OJ?
Yeah, because we obviously was all Dan Quinn all the time yesterday. Yeah, how much did you watch? You watched the whole thing? Or?
I did not. I saw some of the performances. I saw the Luke Combs Tracy Chapman thing.
That was moment
amazing.
Of the night. Easily moment of the night.
Luke Combs did a cover of Fast Car, which is a very famous, great song by Tracy Chapman. She doesn't perform very often, and he had her come as a surprise. He had one to the people who produced it, but to the audience. He came out and sang that. He did a whole backdrop, intro of why he did this song, why he loved this song.
Yeah.
And then they came out and sang it together. And to me, it was, of all the things I saw, it was amazing. That was absolutely amazing.
That was the best performance of the night. It also, he was dealing with the backlash. Not that he meant to do this, but it's, of course, here's the white dude taking the black woman's song and making it a hit. And it was no, it was a hit back then, too, when it came out. He's just covering it. But I thought that was probably best performance of the night.
Prince did Tom Jones's Kiss, guys. Okay? All right?
Prince also did the Foo Fighters at halftime of a Super Bowl as well.
85 people have done Sweet Jane, and I don't even know where it begun.
That's true.
So whatever.
I'm trying to think what else. Jay-Z accepting the award, the Dr. Dre Achievement Award, and then kind of calling out the Academy.
Yeah, I don't like that stuff. I'm done with that, coming out here and saying someone didn't deserve to win this and someone else should have. Kanye famously did this to Taylor Swift, and basically Jay-Z did it in a much nicer way and not to her face. But she's sitting there. Come on. It's a subjective thing, and I don't. Listen, I went to see Beyonce when she was here. That was an amazing, amazing show. She's an incredible performance. She's a god.
Yeah.
So is Taylor Swift.
What I don't understand, what I hated about that one is Taylor Swift and Beyonce have had to come out and say separately, we actually encourage each other. We know that we're, at the end of the day, we're women in this industry and we're selling out stadiums together, essentially. So I
lot of worthy recipients.
So
I
think what happened here is I think it got a little twisted. I think he was trying to stand up for his wife up there and say, and not trying to disparage her. But it comes across that way because she's the one that wins all these awards, and then she, of course, wins Album of the Year, of course. Who's shocked about that one?
Yeah.
And so, of course, there was this little bit of backlash around that. But
I did see Dua Lipa's performance. Thought it was all right. I thought SZA's was great. I saw
awesome.
that one.
She's
I saw U2. They're basically pubbing the Sphere, which I'm hoping to check out when I head out to Vegas.
Travis Scott throwing chairs around.
Did not like his. I thought that his was weird. I like him as a performer. I didn't think it was a little off.
He's embraced this almost like that angry grunge era, but in a rap way. It's like totally interesting as a performer. It is not my thing, but I think it's odd how we keep seeing this kind of reincarnated through different brands. It was grunge, it was Limp Bizkit. Now it's him, like kind of embracing the anger a little bit. It's not my thing, but they gave him the stage to do it. Miley's performance was great too, doing Flowers
awesome.
as well.
She's awesome. Billy Joel. I love Billy Joel, but.
The joke on that one, you heard that, right? Yeah. It's like you're performing when most of your fans are already asleep.
That's
like,
right.
Maybe move that up earlier.
I would have started the show with that one.
Yeah.
All right.
Olivia Rodrigo's performance too, by the way.
She's a
star, like
she's
absolute
monster.
Star.
Yeah. She, like Mike Vrabel, intimidates people when she walks into
bleeding
a room.
walls behind her is what that one was.
She's a superstar.
Yep.
Okay. I want to play this clip, and I don't want to tell you who you're going to hear from in a second because I think it's better if you just hear it happen. Do you remember the name of the show? I see clips from the show all the time, and I feel like I should be paying more attention to it.
It is what it is.
Yeah, okay.
The name of the show.
I feel like I should be paying more attention to this because every time I see a clip from it, I'm highly entertained for the minute and 30 seconds that I get of it. I don't want to tell you who's in this. You'll know the name the second you hear it, and you're going to love the setup. So I will just enjoy 60 seconds of, boy, that took a turn.
Said men shouldn't open up to women because they'll use it against them. He said whenever something go down, they're going to throw it back in your face. Do y'all agree? OJ first.
OJ first.
OJ Simpson people.
When you say open up to women, I don't know what he's talking about. Is he talking about confessing? No, man, don't confess. No, I think you're right. Don't say nothing. It was your lying eyes.
Yeah.
So leave me out of the confession.
Yeah. Oh, no confession.
Did not have in February 2024 laughing about OJ kind of admitting you should just kind of never confess to anything.
I want to hear 3 nervous laughters at the same time.
Yeah.
That's that one.
Listen, when you have a guy on who everyone is convinced killed his ex-wife and got away with it, it might get uncomfortable.
That's that's a lot to deal with, that one. And he brings it up, confession, unprompted, by the way.
Yeah. You're saying confess, never do that.
Right.
One time did I ever tell you the story when I lived with my buddy Reid, where we had for a while we had as an inside joke, we bought his book If I Did It, which was, I don't know if people remember that he wrote a book called If I Did It.
I didn't know that.
Which had a little too much detail in it, Anyway, and we bought it and put it on the coffee table. So we're hoping when people would come over, they would ask us about it. Just so they'd come over.
That's a good bit.
It is a good bit because, like, every once in a while you get someone in there and they'd be like, "What is this?" And we'd be like, "Oh, that's OJ's book. You really should read it." Like, and it's very eye-opening. Like, you'll think differently about the whole thing.
Alternative facts.
Yeah. OJ tells you it's all there in the book. It's all there. You should read it.
He wasn't driving a white Ford Bronco.
Yeah. It's not a good way to start a relationship with somebody, that bit, but it's a good bit.
I commend you on that one.
Chase Young speaks about the difference between the 49ers and the Commanders.
Boy.
You want to hear that next? Should we play that next? You want to hear it? Fine. Bram, watch the show. ESPN 630 Sports Capital. Hi, everyone. I'm going to Vegas this evening, so we'll be doing the shows from Radio Row Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I'm really pumped about all that, to get out there to my happy place and get set to see all the media friendlies, and then we'll do the shows. It'll be fun. I'm excited.
What's the, just a, peek behind the curtain? What's the media parties look like? Do you know,
ones I can get into so far?
Where are you
I'm
going?
going to an ESPN party. I don't know where it is. I'm going to a Commanders function out there, and then I'm definitely going to the annual Ditka Jaws cigar party.
Okay,
which is kind of a must for me to get into. I've done that before.
All right.
So those are the ones I know I'm going to, and then I try to make friends with everybody and see where I end up. You know what I mean? And then I go where the wind takes me, my friend.
Hakkasan with Steve Aoki?
Who knows?
We've had experience on this show with that one.
Go where the wind takes me. That's what I'm going to do.
Fair enough.
So we'll see. You will get updates every day. And at my age, I won't go too crazy. So I'll be awake and, not totally hungover. Do this 20 years ago would have been bad news for me to do the show out there. These days I can handle myself.
I wonder how much like some of the ticket prices are going for out there. Like I bet you the Adele show this weekend is just so stupid expensive.
I'd love to go in the Sphere, but it's probably going to be it's going to cost me my house to go in there and see a concert.
Right.
So I'm sure it's going to be like that. All right, so let's talk about the Super Bowl a little bit, and we've got some somewhat news out there. There was a lot of reporting, and maybe some of it was just to kind of like psyops, go after Andy Reid and say he's going to retire.
Right.
He was asked about it today, and this is what he said about it. My mom and dad told me this when they were working. They said, you'll know when it's time, and I'm ready to go right now, so let's go. That's what they would tell me when I was young, and I was an inquisitive kid, and so that's the way I look at it. Somewhere you're going to have to know when it's time, but today's not the day.
Okay.
Now, today's not the day doesn't mean in a week it's not the day.
Sure.
But it also doesn't sound like he's really going anywhere. Clark Hunt, who's the chairman of the Chiefs, said this. I don't have a sense for what he's thinking. I do know he's really engaged and enjoying it, and I have no sense that he's going to be ready to retire in the near future.
Okay.
So they're trying to put that one to bed. And then there was a piece today from Adam Tyker, who covers the Chiefs for ESPN for years. And the headline was, he will be coaching the Chiefs for the foreseeable future because he only likes two things, football and cheeseburgers. I thought it was an amazing line.
We've also never heard like any of the normal quote unquote things about coaches that want to retire from that team, right? We're like, we haven't heard about communication breaking down. Mm-hmm. We haven't heard that he doesn't enjoy it. We haven't heard that he's tired. I think that's the number one we hear about this when you have coaches that are getting older, that they're just feeling worn down. We've got none of that from him. And in fact, I would say he hasn't changed at all from his Eagles tenure from there. Like
he's not quitting.
Yeah.
If he did, he would regret it, and he would go back to it the next year with a team that doesn't have Pat Mahomes.
That's right. Yeah. And like that's the other part
he's
here.
He's not quitting.
That's the other part. He sees that the pathway of him possibly knocking on the door of Belichick Brady. They have a long way to go, but he's also going.
He could break the all-time wins record the way he's going.
Correct. So, and he's going. He's also probably thinking to himself, Pat's starting to do it like Brady did with no help.
Yes.
So that means we can kind of keep this thing going for a while. I wasn't really buying it. I wondered how much of that was agent talk. But yeah, I'm not buying. I was never buying it.
Here, he's number 4 right now, wins all time. Don Shula is number 1, 328. George Halas, 318. Bill Belichick is. So that's 26 away. So you need a few seasons if you can get back into the league. I'm going to assume he's going to get back into the league, but I'm surprised he didn't. But like he's got a little ways to go here, a few seasons really. Yep. Andy Reid is at 258. Now that's 70. Okay,
all right,
that's 70. But 70 wins with Pat Mahomes.
I'm saying 10 wins a season over 7 years. That's not the craziest thing in the world. I'm undershooting it a little bit. But I'm accounting.
I think this includes postseason too. I think it does. It must.
Most of the NFL stuff does not actually.
Regular season wins list, 328. So you need to get 70 more. But Mahomes at his age,
right?
It's not unreasonable that he's going to play another 7 to 10 years.
That's right.
And if he does, he clearly is one of the best in the business. And short of something changing for him winning, getting 10 wins a year is not 10.
Yeah, 10's a healthy estimate.
10's the floor for Mahomes.
10's a healthy estimate because you got to account for a year if Mahomes gets hurt or something like that, or he gets banged up.
I mean, it's going to be if he were to pull that, it's a long way away. But if he were to pull that off, I think we're going to fall into this same similar category that I think Ovechkin's in with Gretzky a little bit, where you go, well, if he breaks the record, is he really the greatest coach of all time? I don't know.
I don't know if he is. I mean, he would be in the discussion.
I think he'd have to fall. He'd have to be fair to him, you'd have to fall in the same category as Belichick, where you go, yeah, but you had Pat Mahomes.
Right.
When does it get to that? When does it get to that where they go, yeah, but you had Pat, because that's what they've done to Belichick. They're like, yeah, you had Tom Brady.
Right.
Of course your win record is amazing.
I think he gets a little bit of a pass because he got McNabb to the Super Bowl, and he had those Eagles teams firing on all cylinders every single year. And then I think actually what's going to be the dagger of all daggers for Reid to argue is he's going to go, Do you guys remember when I had Alex Smith here in his second stop?
That's right. They got to the playoffs.
We got to the playoffs. Yeah. They were a very good team. And because of that, I got to bench Patrick Mahomes for a year so he could learn the system and learn how to play quarterback. That's where his argument's actually going to be. It's that I developed Patrick Mahomes. You can't just tell me he showed up. I think we might have that discussion. It's going to take 5, 6, 7 years to get there.
It is.
Yeah.
Let's see. The other things that are happening this week, with the Chiefs at least, Kadarius Toney did an interview and stated he was not
what a
saying.
Spin cycle this is
He
turned
said
into.
he wasn't saying that the Chiefs were lying about his injury, even though he was. We all saw it. Like, we all heard about it.
The Chiefs get such a pass for this one. Everyone, like, how is this not a bigger storyline? Instead, there's like, nah, didn't happen. Nope, didn't happen.
Is he playing?
They haven't committed to that. Reid did not commit to him playing yet. I don't think he is.
And also, they also said Joe Tooney's probably not playing.
Yeah,
that's a big deal.
That's a big deal.
That's a big deal. He's probably not playing. So that's going to be interesting on the interior. If he's not going to play with Hargrave, and after last week where Steve Wilkes did the whole, this is unacceptable, the way that we played, and it wasn't just the clip of Chase Young not trying to tackle somebody on a touchdown run.
Right.
It was, I've said this for a couple of weeks running. I said, I thought Detroit was going to beat them last week because I don't think their defense is playing very well. They don't have a pass rush. And if they don't have a pass rush, Goff's going to kill them.
That's right.
And they're going to have a problem. And they should have lost.
That's right.
If Detroit didn't do, we're Detroit and we only do it this way, pal. If they didn't do that, they would have won. After, you know how this goes. The second it gets called out publicly, it wakes everybody up.
That's right. Yep.
And their defense better wake up or they ain't beating that guy. Because nobody beats that guy. Nobody beats that guy. So they better wake up. But the Kadarius Toney thing was great because he was like, I didn't do that.
Like,
and the whole time I'm sitting there going, yes, you did.
You absolutely did.
We saw it.
Yeah.
We all saw it.
That's right.
We saw that one. All right. The first, let's see how the week goes because it is in Vegas. Starts with Pat Mahomes' dad was arrested.
Yeah.
DWI.
Yep.
Third one, mandatory jail sentence.
Right.
Probably coming unless there's a technicality and he can get out of it. Not that I'm, whatever. It just
2 to 10 years, I believe, is the number.
Is what it is.
Yeah.
It's a 3 strikes you're out type of situation. So we'll have to see what happens there. So Pat Mahomes got asked about it.
Oh, yeah.
So we've had our first. He, obviously wasn't going to.
It wasn't in Vegas though. Yeah. It was in Texas.
No,
right?
it wasn't.
Yeah,
but it's our first what we'd call the full-on distraction.
Yeah.
And he got one. His dad, is in trouble. And he's getting asked about it, and he did what I thought he would do, and kind of just like not worried about it right now.
Yeah.
We'll deal with it when we deal with it, and all that stuff. And then I saw this interview with Joe Buck. I can't even believe he said this. He said,
"Oh God."
He said
what we're all thinking.
He basically said, "This is the worst place to have this because something terrible is going to happen. Like there's going to be an incident." And there's an incident every year at every Super Bowl.
Yeah.
There always is.
Yeah.
There always is. And I'm waiting for it too because it's just too easy. And it might not even be a quote unquote incident. In this case, it's somebody may spend $58,000 in a strip club in 1 hour and then that just gets out and it just becomes embarrassing.
Yeah.
That's what I'm really more expecting to hear. And then how do people react to it? Back in the day, people would go crazy on somebody. This day and age, they might not. I don't know. That's what I'm worried about here with them there.
Ask the Saints and Alvin Kamara about that.
Yeah,
he got in trouble with the Pro Bowl last year because he beat some dude up.
There's just too much there. And then, I'm hoping we don't have any trouble. But that's what Joe Buck said. And I was sitting there listening to him going, what are you saying that for? What purpose do you get for saying that? But we haven't. And it doesn't matter where the game is. There's always some kind of what's the week of incident that someone gets in trouble for.
Right.
And I don't know. I mean, look, prostitution's legal there.
Mm-hmm.
If someone gets caught engaging in it, will that be a distraction or not? I don't know. Marijuana's legal there.
Yep.
If someone's smoking it, or they get maybe because the league.
I
don't know.
I say it's legal for the league. League.
I am very, very, very hopeful that no player does anything dumb like go play blackjack.
Right.
Because they will come down on you. But it's readily available there. And then there's just the clubs and all the things that can happen in the clubs. And people want proximity to the players.
Yeah.
And who knows, So I agree it's all kind of ripe for all of that. But I'm not scared of it happening. I'm kind of waiting for whatever the news is. And I want to see how everybody reacts to it because something's going to happen with somebody on one of these teams in Las Vegas. Like, that's going to happen.
I don't know where they're staying, but the practice.
They're out at Lake Las Vegas.
Okay.
They've sequestered them a little bit. Lake
is that
Las
one
Vegas,
team or both teams?
I know one of them is out
Because
there.
I know the other practice is at UNLV, too.
Okay, so UNLV is literally in town. It's like right off the strip, like right off where the sure. Almost close to where the stadium for the Super Bowl is. Lake Las Vegas is about 30 to 40 minutes away. It's a small man-made lake, and it's a budding community that's like a suburb of Las Vegas, but you're away from the strip. Like, it would take you 45 minutes or more because of this week to get down to the area where everybody goes and parties.
Got it.
So they're pretty sequestered's the wrong way to put it, but they're kind of away from everything.
Insulated
and it's
is the
not
word. Yeah.
it's not a touristy area.
Got it.
It may be now that people know that they're there, but it's not traditionally.
Okay, got it. I mean, here's what, if I was a head coach, I'd be telling all these dudes, stay away from all of it. And when you win the game,
do whatever
we're going to have the party of all parties.
Yeah, we're staying here.
And we're
not leaving. We're staying here.
Right. Yeah. We're going to bring all of your gear to whatever hotel is on the strip. And when we win, go crazy, guys. Yeah. Because we're gonna go
Don't
do
get
that.
arrested.
Right. But it's gonna be it's gonna be in a literal controlled environment wherever they go. Yeah. The Caps did this. They won in Vegas and they walked over with the Stanley Cup to go party in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
This is what they're saying to them. They're going, guys, stay away for a week, and when we win, we'll take care of you. And I think that's probably the motivating factor this week of kind of keeping your nose clean in that city.
Okay. Second year in a row that we are having problems with the field.
Yeah.
So last year, we had the Eagles complain in the literal Super Bowl, that the field was too slick. And all their guys were falling and slipping all over the place, and Mahomes lit them up.
We had full conspiracy theory after the game, too. Who was it? Wasn't the grounds guy like a Chiefs fan?
Who knows? Right.
Might have given him the heads up to use longer cleats. Like, it was a legitimate conspiracy theory when all the details came out.
Right. But I would just say this back to them. It affects both teams.
Sure.
This is not abnormal that people change their cleats when things change in the middle of the game. And so I don't want to hear it because you guys fell down and they didn't.
One of my favorite inventions
why
ever.
Is that the case?
One of my favorite inventions in high school ever was one of our equipment managers figured out how to attach the cleat thing that you use to take the cleats off on the bottom and attach it to a drill bit. So you could spin the cleats off real fast and put them back in like NASCAR style. Like that's what I would hope they have.
So this year's problem apparently is the 49ers are complaining that the practice field that they're on is quote unquote too soft.
That's right. Yep. Right.
All right.
Yeah. Shanahan said today he wasn't concerned. He was just saying.
I think because that got out there, now all of a sudden people are like making it an excuse for them and they don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
On Tuesday.
Right.
They don't want to hear it. And I don't blame them. Like, don't start the excuse cycle of when you lose that it was the field at UNLV that, like, screwed you up.
Yeah. How hard are you practicing, too, the week of the Super Bowl? Like,
I don't know. Can these teams go into the Raider Stadium and practice there?
I think Raiders is natural grass. So
No, it's a dome.
No, I know, but I still think it's natural grass. I think it's like Arizona. They wheel out
They wheel it out?
I'm pretty sure they do. So
Really?
you can't tear it up. I'm pretty sure.
Huh.
They don't use the fake turf anymore. So it would have to be like what Arizona has.
Huh. I didn't know that. I thought it was turf when we went there a couple of years ago, if I remembered right.
Let me check for you. I thought it was like the Arizona Stadium. I thought
they wheel out the turf?
Yeah, that's what I thought. Hold on, give me a sec. But the other thing, too, is like, why are there not multiple fields? It's the Super Bowl. Like, you can't have this ready to go, like, back up to the backups.
Well, but they do. Like, there were ones practicing at UNLV. It's a football stadium. That's a big program. Like, that's – I don't know. I'm not sure. I think it's the wrong move to allow this type of excuse to start to get out there.
We're both right. It has both a natural grass and an artificial turf. They can swap them in, I guess. It says the stadium.
I remember when we played the Raiders a couple of years ago, that was turf that
so
they
here
played
it is.
on.
The stadium utilizes a roll-in grass field similar to Glendale, like State Farm Stadium. This configuration allows the Raiders who prefer grass to turf to play on a natural surface while other events can be played without damaging the grass. The stadium's artificial turf is primarily for UNLV.
Huh.
UNLV reportedly prefers to play on turf. It limits the wear and tear of the Raiders' grass field. So
we'll see what it is. So have they announced what it is?
I would assume it's grass because it's an NFL game. And the NFL players, I mean, want it to be. So, I mean.
All right. All right. So I think they should stop getting upset about this, or at least publicly talking about it. Roger Goodell even said that's not a problem.
Yeah,
and then Andy Reid was asked about it, and he's like, I don't even know where that comes from.
Yeah, right.
I don't want to hear about
it.
All right. Want to hear Chase Young?
Sure.
Chase Young, in his first Super Bowl, after a trade at the deadline to San Francisco for a compensatory third-round pick, got this question today.
What whirlwind has this been like for you this season? I mean, could you have even imagined at the beginning of the year you'd be standing here at Super Bowl opening night?
Beginning of the season, no, you couldn't. I didn't know beginning of the season, the opportunity came, and right now I'm just doing my best to take full advantage of it.
How are the 49ers different from the Commanders organizationally?
I ain't even gonna get into that question.
Yeah, no, I understand that totally. But how much fun has it been for you winning? I mean, obviously kind of a obvious question there, but every competitor wants to win, and now you're getting a chance to do that.
Nah, it's definitely getting a chance, man. It's crazy, just even being here. Even though you just think of the Super Bowl, it's like one of those. It's like the furthest thing that you think you may reach in your football career growing up as a kid. The fact that we're here. I know it's just a blessing, so I know everybody in here is going to take full advantage to win this game.
There you go. There he is. I ain't even going to get into that question.
That's fine. I mean,
he
knows what's being fished there. So I mean, good for him. Good for him for not making a headline or anything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what's the point?
Yes. Right.
And the crazy part is, like, all the people who made the decisions about him, they're not here anymore.
That's right. Yep. Exactly right.
With the exception of the ownership group, I guess.
Right.
But, like, I don't know.
I want to say this, too. Like, you only heard the audio there, but Chase's face did not change when that question was asked. Like, he didn't even give a smile or a smirk of, like, oh, yeah, that organization. He was completely stoic on that. So good on Chase for that. Like, I think that was a legitimate reaction of, like, I don't really want to talk about that.
Who's the reporter? That's not a local.
It's Mark
reporter.
Davis.
Who's that?
Mark Davis he is out from Norfolk, down in Norfolk.
Virginia.
Yeah.
Oh, so okay, because initially I was like, why would anybody ask him about that?
Yeah.
Because what does it matter? But now that someone's semi-local.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, that makes more sense now.
Yeah, that's why I got amplified by Scott Abraham, because they probably know each other being
got it.
Local-ish is what
I wish Chase the best. I hope he wins. Good luck. I hope he wins.
I'm not rooting for him in the Super Bowl, but I'm rooting for Trent Williams. I think Trent deserves a ring.
I agree.
He's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
100%.
Get a ring.
He should be in our Ring of Honor after he retires.
Correct. Exactly.
And that will happen.
I will be wearing my Trent Williams Redskins jersey on Sunday.
Oh, you will?
Yeah.
I'm going to be cooking all day.
Oh, okay. What's on the menu? What's on the menu there?
I'm going to make wings. I'm going to make two kinds of wings.
That's what I usually do as
I've
well.
decided I'm going to make regular buffalo wings, and I'm going to go for a Korean buffalo wing type of thing.
Okay.
I'm going to go
All
for
right.
that flavoring.
All right.
Try that out. And then it really depends how many people end up at our house. I don't really like to have a big Super Bowl party because I actually want to watch the game.
Yeah.
But it's sounding like I'm being overruled a little bit with some of the children.
Decisions? Oh, by the children. Got it.
Yeah. So it depends how many of their friends are coming over. And at that point, I'm probably going to make a brisket because that would be the easiest thing to do, just to make a big fat brisket and chop it up. And if they don't like that, they can just go home.
Got it.
That's the way I feel about
Fair
it.
enough.
Yeah, you just leave.
I got like 3 options. I recently joined a run club. They're having a party.
Oh.
You tend not. I'm with you.
You guys
like
do calisthenics the whole time during the game?
No. It was full blown. We're running in the morning and then eat all the calories at night. But I'm like you. You kind of don't like to be in the party setting because you're going to miss something. You're going to miss the commentary, the commercial, or the game. You're missing one segment by doing a party.
I try to tell people, I know this is a fun holiday for you. This is actually very serious to me.
We got to talk about it for hours the next day.
Well, it's not even just that. It's just I'm so in the whole story and the script. I want to see how it ends. And I don't need to be bothered by, in the nicest way possible.
Yeah.
Please stop asking me what a false start is at this moment. I just can't right now. I can't.
Ask me any other week.
Yeah. If you would like to, have commentary during the halftime show this year, fine. I'm not uber pumped for Usher, but in the past, even then it was like, I kind of want to see Eminem and Dr. Dre, guys.
That's
so
true.
I think I maybe ought to not bother me now either.
Right.
So you want to go when, who's got it, CBS?
Yes.
When JB pops up, if you want to ask some questions, I'm fine with that at that point. But on 2nd and 3 in a 7-7 game in the second quarter, I want to know if they're running or passing, and I can't now at this point explain to you what tackle eligible means. I just can't do that right now.
See, I'm the opposite of you. I like answering those questions.
I like answering them during the Jacksonville,
football,
Tennessee, Thursday night game.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
Where I'm just like, yeah, let's talk about this.
Right,
This is a good test case for you. Let's watch this because I don't care what the outcome is. I really want to watch this, see this, and
see. This is what happens.
This is a title fight too. I mean, this is a great. This is a great matchup. So I want to be in it, please.
This is what's happened with me too, and we all go through this that work in sports media. It's you're a sports guy now, so all the questions come to you, and it's kind of like, do I want to put myself in that environment? I'm not sure yet.
Yeah,
not sure.
You
yet.
don't.
I usually go. By the way, I usually go 2 kinds of wings. I go with Old Bay hot sauce wings.
Yeah.
Excellent. If you need a change up, and I also go mambo sauce. So
I'm gonna go full buffalo because I like it, and I'm experimenting. I'm gonna go with that
Korean barbecue.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that on the wings and see how that goes. I'm gonna grill them and see how it goes.
Oh, you're gonna grill them.
I'm gonna grill those and put the Korean flavors on it and see how that goes.
I go baked, but I have a really good technique.
Baked?
Yeah.
I typically fry them.
No, that's
what I typically do.
So I learned a recipe years back of you coat them in baking soda, and it dries out the skin. You put them in the fridge and you dry out the skin, and you throw them in a really hot oven, like 400 degrees.
And it gets crispy?
Yep.
Oh, it gets crispy.
Yeah.
See, I fry them because I want them crispy.
And they're crispy and they fall apart, too, because you're putting them in the oven. So that's what I've done. Save a few calories that way. Not that, we're counting those on Sunday, but yeah. That's
I watch a lot of Food Network. So
right.
osmosis, I'm gaining a lot of knowledge by just watching them. I'm getting a full-on...
Welcome to my childhood, dude.
Yeah.
That's what I did.